The losing streak is officially snapped. Welcome back to Banditland Boulevard. Trevor Howard, Tony LaMonica, Dhane Smith with a shorty late in the fourth quarter to put the losing streak to bed for good. The losing streak ends at 4 games, but a game that was back and forth, and you can debate or not whether that game should have been back and forth. The Buffalo Bandits offensive explosion in the first half. Halifax started to crawl back there in the second half, but no matter how you slice it, Tony, a win is a win. And where the Bandits stand right now after this big 11-10 road victory over Halifax is 9th place. We are in a 3-way tie with Las Vegas and Rochester for that 8th spot. Rochester, of course, has the head-to-head tiebreaker on us, putting us in 9th place. But this is kind of where you want to be. This is kind of where you want to be able to pounce on your opportunities. Going into Vancouver next week, they lost in overtime to the Rush this past week, so they're going to be pretty pissed off going into next week, but we will worry about that game once it happens. The most important thing that we can talk about tonight is the Bandits' big 11-10 victory over the Halifax Thunderbirds, splitting the season series with these guys, putting the Thunderbirds at 3-6 and Buffalo at 4-5.
Yeah, finally that we wanted to see the W back on the winning side of things for the Bandits, but again, there are still some key things that we've seen in that second half that's still kind of scary to us as fans watching, especially with the high-performance offense that they had in the first half alone. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, maybe they're starting to get that consistency back, getting 4 goals per game, per quarter and looking like themselves all over again. Great. But then the red flags started to come out, and then the fact with allowing other teams to come, marching back, and they had a moment where they were just hot. They tied 10-10. It's like, God, why are they doing this? And here we go again. We're going to start playing this deja vu type play, and now I'm just thankful. Dhane Smith woke up when he needed to score his only goal, and it was shorthanded, and that was the game winner for the game. And you know what? It's a prove me wrong type thing, but still has a lot to work with.
Yeah, absolutely. You like the fact that they put a W in that win-loss column. How they won, they still have a couple things that they need to work on. First of all, though, I think we need to get into the positives of this game. Number one, the secondary scoring taking flight right out of the gate. To start off the game, you get Kyle Buchanan, who came off of 0 goals, 0 assists in Colorado, scores a goal last week against Philadelphia, and then gets back on the scoring sheet this week. Pots in the first goal of the game, and then Clay Scanlon, who was getting robbed. How many posts did he hit last week in the Philly game? He was just getting snake bitten and robbed.
At least 6.
The fact that he can go out there and pot one in the back of the net, that was great. Tehoka Nanticoke keeping up this goal scoring streak. He has scored 5 goals in his last 3 games, and he's been on a 9-game goal streak. So Tehoka Nanticoke's getting his money's worth on that 3-year contract extension for sure. And it was really the story. Your secondary guys turn into your primary guys, except during crunch time. Dhane Smith showed up and scored that shorthanded goal to win the game. But in between, Ryan Benesh, Matt Spanger, we know about his offensive and defensive abilities. He got on the score sheet too. The difference in this game was the Buffalo Bandits, they had better secondary scoring than the Halifax Thunderbirds did. Point blank period. I know that they jumped out to an 8-3 lead, and that's a big positive too. But your secondary guys scored a lot of those goals. Benny out the front door. Matt Spanger short-handed. That was great. We saw a few short-handed goals in this game. And Tehoka Nanticoke, like I previously mentioned. But Tony, how good is it? And we can talk about this. The huge lead that the Bandits took after this. But how big is it now during the start of the gauntlet of the middle of the schedule? How big is it that the secondary guys are finally starting to click and kind of look like the primary guys?
Well, it kind of takes the weight off of Dhane Smith and Josh Byrne to carry the whole load of getting massive goals per night for them. I mean, usually they can score like 2-3 on average, if you may say. But also it's nice to say that, hey, Kyle, can you do 2 goals for us? Hey, Tehoka, can you score 2 for us? Clay, can you contribute 1? Ian, can you score a couple more? Benny, how about you? It's nice to have that roster that works together as one and to contribute as much as they possibly can. But again, it does take the weight off of Dhane Smith and Josh Byrne, but they also got to understand that the stars need to be stars as well. Is that Josh Byrne had 2 goals this past game, and he looked like himself all over again. He's looking better. He's, like I told you before prior, he's getting better, but he's not good yet. He's getting better.
He's
so
not
take
at
one
the
game at a
style
time.
that we're used to seeing Josh Byrne.
Exactly. So he's climbing that ladder.
He is climbing the ladder. He's the B- version of the Josh that we normally know. But
Yeah.
hey, I'll take a freaking B- over a D+ any day of the week.
Oh, we all do. And I'm thankful that he finally got back on the scoring. He scored 2 goals on 7 shots, according to the statistics. And he's starting to get that confidence back. And I'm glad that he probably heard us and say, hey, I got to wake up here. It's my turn now. So good for him to get back on the scoring sheet with the goals. And I like to see maybe next game, because especially when the challenges get tougher, he's got to play tougher as well to get those goals. So Josh Byrne, good job. But, you still have to climb the steps to get to the top.
And your secondary guys looking like your primary guys. And Josh Byrne, when his back is against the wall, he usually shows up and plays the best style of lacrosse that we're usually used to seeing. So it's great to see him kind of ignite that flame and say, you know what, hey, my game is slowly but surely coming back. Just give me a couple weeks and I'll be right back into normal shape. So it's good to see that monkey, the metaphorical monkey off his back, and the fact that he can pot in a couple goals. By the way, his first multi-goal game since December 28th in the Saddle Dome against the Roughneck. So thought I would throw that out there as well.
It's been a while.
Another positive about this game, Warren Hill did not look like the king of the hill, Tony. He played 17-04, gave up 7 goals and only made 14 saves in 17 minutes of gameplay. Warren Hill got ran from the net, and they took out the starter. We mentioned getting off to a fast start and peppering the goalie. He got peppered. He let up 21 shots. 7 of them went in the net. He ended up getting yanked and only played 17-04.
Yeah, that's the way you got to try to get these starting goaltenders out of their rhythm and really throw off their game. Just all angles. Just don't make the prettiest goal. Don't make the prettiest pass. Just put the shots on net and wait for the massacre to happen. And Warren Hill did not look like himself like he did against us back in Banditland, and how they won that game in overtime. He looked lost. He looked like he couldn't make a save to save his life. So I'm glad that the Bandits finally figured it out. I'm glad they attacked Warren Hill when they did. They smell blood in the water, so let's just put him down for good. Let's finish him off. And they did. So that's why Drew Hutchinson came in, and he looked like a brick wall. And I'm thinking to myself, this could be the turn of events, and that's where the Halifax Thunderbirds could take away this game against us. But it didn't work out that way. We walked away with a squeaker, and you know what? It's nice to feel back as in the winning circle again. So good job for you guys.
Absolutely does. And the one guy that came into this game and played out of his mind, wasn't even supposed to get any playing time whatsoever, was Drew Hutchinson. He played 42 minutes and 56 seconds, made 24 saves, got credited with the loss because technically he gave up the game-winning goal to Dhane Smith, but he only gave up 4 goals. He faced 28 shots and stopped 24 of them on net, and he was credited with the loss, but he showed up and he played his best style of lacrosse. And we said this off air, Tony, if Drew Hutchinson got the start in this game, the Halifax Thunderbirds would have absolutely smoked the Buffalo Bandits, because he completely dominated them and looked like he was playing his best style of lacrosse that we've ever seen. And you know what? He looked phenomenal. And maybe it was just not a night that Warren Hill played his best, and maybe it was just, Drew Hutchinson was playing, I don't even know, he came off the bench cold. He wasn't even supposed to be in the game at all. Maybe it was just one of those nights where he had it and Warren Hill didn't, but still got credited with the loss. But, we kind of set it off air, Tony, that if he was in between the pipes in that game, the Bandits probably don't win that game.
No, I completely agree, because the way how he was just shutting us down in that second half kind of scared me. I was thinking to myself, I'm like, here we go again. Deja vu all over. We play really strong in one half, and then the next half it's just completely it folded, like closing a book, basically saying that's it for our season. Let's pack it up and let's regroup for the next year. But thankfully that didn't turn out to be that way. So thankfully we had a happy ending to our story for that night.
I think where the game really started to turn on its side a little bit when the Bandits were up 8-3 with 2 minutes to go in the first half.
Yep.
Cody Jamieson scores a quick one, and then Clark Peterson scores. I think they got 2 goals in roughly 30 seconds. I want to say maybe 40.
Roughly.
So instead of going into the half at 8-3, it's now 8-5. And they got Jake Withers on the other side taking faceoffs. They're going to get some more possessions going into the second half. There's blood in the water here. And I remember at halftime sitting there watching the game going, man, if they just held on for another minute 30, that we're going into this halftime 8-3, and instead it's 8-5, and that's a totally different game when you're up by 5 and 3. And then eventually the Bandits in the second half were only held to 3 goals while they scored their 5, ended up tying the game on a shorthanded goal late with Knox on the assist from Stephen Kehoe and Tyson Bell.
Yep.
On the 4-on-3 power play that the Bandits were on very, very briefly. And the goal that broke the losing streak, as bleak as it looked like the Halifax Thunderbirds, when they were granted an absolutely phantom power play on a stick check from Mitch Desnew that was called holding, it looked like Halifax was probably going to run away with this game. They're either going to put it away in regulation or it'd be another quick overtime game. You got to think, like, what are the Bandits doing? Like, even if they score a shorthanded goal, they still have to kill off this whole penalty. Mitch Desnew, I feel bad for you, bro. I mean, that was an awful call, one of the worst I've ever seen in my life. And to all the idiots out there that still defend these referees, I don't know what to say to you anymore. I mean, it is so bad. And if you want this sport to take the next step up and be more mainstream, you have to get officials that know what they are doing. And we just don't have that. So if you don't want to be mainstream, it's good. You're not going to be mainstream when you hire these clowns that don't know the rules of the game, don't know what a penalty is, and don't know. I mean, how many times, Tony, you mentioned it off air, the illegal substitution, too many men on the field. How many times did Halifax get away with that? And we got called
4 or 5
substitution, what, once or twice? We got it called on illegal substitution?
Yes, we did.
How many times did they get away with that?
They got away with a good handful for sure.
It's ridiculous. Not only that, but Mitch Desnew takes a horrible penalty, but this is one of those ball don't lie moments. Dhane Smith on a sick feed from, I believe it was Lucas Nielsen, wasn't it? No,
yes,
it was Josh Byrne.
Josh Byrne, that gave him
on the pass from Josh Byrne and Ian McKay, streaking down the left side and just shoots it. It goes top shelf, and then the weight was kind of lifted off the shoulders here. We can think, hey, we got a little bit of wiggle room here. We took the 1-goal lead back. They have about a minute, or they have about 2:25 to go. We got about a minute to kill left on this penalty. As long as we kill off this penalty, we should be good enough to win the game. Not only do the Bandits kill off the penalty, but Matt Vince makes a huge save. They had a quick possession with 15 seconds left on a 6-on-5 with the net empty. And Matt Vince comes across and makes a vintage Matt Vince save. Nobody standing in the crease. He stops it all on his own and throws it all the way down the floor. And at that moment, the weight was lifted. Exhale, sigh of relief, because the Bandit season is still alive. They are still alive. They're still kicking. And the point is, and the amount of times where we said that, Father Time has caught up with Matt Vince this season on this show, you will still get the vintage Matt Vince moments from time to time. And that save at the end of the game was vintage Matt Vince. And with all the circumstances going against you, scoring a shorthanded goal to win the game, Mitch Desnew taking the worst holding penalty that I've ever seen called in the National Lacrosse League, all that stuff thrown at you. You're blowing an 8-3 lead, and then down the road, Cam Wire scores to make it 10-7. You blow a 10-7 lead. They end up tying it at 10.
Yep.
Despite all of those things happening to you all at once, the Bandits still find their way to win. So maybe their 2023, 2024, 2025 team is still buried in their system somewhere, and they just got to find it, because we saw a little glimpse of that just a couple nights ago on Saturday when, things are looking bleak, but you still had that vintage Bandits moment in them. So maybe they still do have it in them. We just have to see it more on a consistent basis, and what the Bandits need right now is to build upon this win. But Tony, the last 3 minutes of the game, how can you describe that?
Hard to breathe, basically. You're holding your breath to see what is going to happen. You're like, your mind's like, come on, I know I got faith in this team. I got confidence in these boys. They're going to pull out the W. But again, it's just in the back of your mind going, no, they're not. They're going to lose their last 5, and it's going to turn into ugliness going into Vancouver the very next game. But just a glimpse of hope, just to see how they didn't quit. They stayed affirmative to them, and then just getting that last goal from Dhane Smith shorthanded, and that was the confidence boost that we need, and the perfect timing for him to score as well. But that kind of lifted up my spirits and saying, okay, now I can breathe. But it's still enough time for them to tie it or take over. Because like you said, you can score goals in a blink of an eye in this league. And thankfully that Matt Vince played the way he did. Lights out, nobody's getting by me. And he found his youth again, and he just kept them away from scoring another goal. To take you also back on another referee moment, if we may say, that Mitch DeStew gets boarded into the boards, and that was not even called. When he gets knocked, his back was turned, and he gets knocked on his ass from behind and did not even get a call there. And he literally went to the referee looking at him going, why didn't you call that? That's a checking from behind. No call at all. So again, it seems like the Bandits players are their safety is out the window. So you got to watch out for your own self. And the referees are going to have to figure something out. Either, look, there's two teams. We care about their welfare. And if something like that happens, you've got to make that call, no matter what the circumstances is. If they got their back turned and their head goes in first in the boards, clearly that's a penalty. I don't know how. I'm literally screaming at the TV going, why wasn't that called? And he looked at the referee going, why did you call that? I don't know. But other than that, but getting back to what you're saying, those last few minutes, it still felt like a heart attack waiting to happen. And I'm thankful that we could finally breathe easy because they came away with the W.
That's right. And heart was in the throat, hold on to your butts type of attitude. Hearts were pumping. Even after the Dhane Smith goal, like you could take a little sigh of relief, but you also got to lock back in and say you got 2:25 left on the clock. And you still have to
kill a lot of time.
Minute long penalty here. But yeah, going back onto the referee thing, Scott Loeffler tweeted out something absolutely electric on Saturday night. He says, and I quote, "Wow, just wow. Great defensive play by Mitch DeStew, and he gets rewarded with a penalty." That is what we have been saying on this show for how many years, Tony? And the funny thing is, there are some people that have watched this show before, that have trashed this show before, that have followed me out of the bathroom at one of the KeyBank Center or one of the games at the KeyBank Center, defending these morons. And it's getting to the point where the director of lacrosse operations is going on his Twitter talking about how bad these referees are. How about you clowns open your eyes? Realize that these guys suck. Mitch DeStew gets hit right on the numbers. Nothing. But could you imagine if roles were reversed?
Oh, God, we'd be in the box in a lifetime. We'd be in the box.
Thrown out of the game, and he probably would have been suspended, probably would have had a hearing the next day. It's just ridiculous. How many do they get? And it's not just that. How many replays do we have to go for a video review of a goal that should have been waved off on the floor? The one of the Clark Peterson plays where his entire left foot is on the white line of the crease, and the referee on the floor calls it a goal immediately. Like, you're standing right there. How do you not see that? The first Josh Byrne goal, the ball literally goes in the back of the net, and the referee didn't see it, waved it off, thought it hit the crossbar. And Josh Byrne is pointing at the scoreboard saying, challenge this because it hit the back of the net. Every single replay showed it go in the furthest part of the net. I don't know what these clowns are doing. They certainly didn't help the Bandits case. All they did was delay the game. How many video reviews do we have to watch with these morons? Week in and week out? But never mind. Some people are stubborn. They're still going to defend these idiots. We're not going to do that.
Nope.
All I'm saying, if you want this league to be more legit and you want it to be more mainstream, like the NHL, NFL, NBA, MLB, you got to get referees that know what they're doing. And this is on the commissioner too, because he's the one that finds these guys and gives them contracts. And I think we need a complete overhaul, get the Lysol wipes out and start wiping it clean, because these referees, and bring in all these new guys, because these guys can't handle it. But like I said before, ball don't lie. Dhane Smith picks up the ball, scores a game-winning shorthanded goal to end the losing streak. Now, Rochester is in front of them. There is one team that the Bandits have to leapfrog to get at least into the playoff spot. Now, Rochester has the same record as the Bandits, and the last game that they won was against the Bandits, where they went 4-1. And Their goalie was obviously suspended. They lost 10-8 over the weekend to the Ottawa Black Bears, so there's kind of blood in the water there. Luckily for us, the Bandits do have the tiebreaker over the Las Vegas Desert Dogs, so at least we're in the top 9. But this Vancouver game is very important too. But all it takes at this point is just a win, back-to-back wins, maybe a 3-game win streak. You're right back in the swing of things. You're in the playoff picture. You're in the playoffs, and then we can look on to bigger and better things. But it started off with a big win over Halifax, and I couldn't be more proud of these guys, the way that they can close out a game no matter how hairy or how dicey it looked towards the back end. The Bandits still found a way to do it. There are some things that they still need to clean up on. I think Connor Farrell going 11 of 25 against Jake Withers is probably the best you're going to get out of him. Jake Withers is probably arguably the best in the sport. Either that or Baptiste is probably up there too, I would think, as far as best face-off get-off guys. The special teams, I think, still needs a little bit of a change-up as well. 1-4 on the power play for the Bandits, but at least we can say the special teams on the shorthanded side of things, they got the game-winning goal, number 1. Number 2, they also killed off 4 out of 5 penalties.
Yep, 80% against the power play. That's a pretty good stat to, for the defense to pick it up and do what they do best. I think their latest power play goal was scored late to tie it up at 10. So other than that, yeah, the penalty killing was really good, 80%, like I said. And just got to keep going on further than here. Just got to keep one game at a time, go against Vancouver next, and hopefully they can keep that momentum up. But we got to really just try to stay out of the box as much as possible because again, I know it's tough not to get a penalty in this league. Really, it is. But when the calls don't go your favor or you get called for something, just bite your lip, go to the box. But until then, you got to just kind of like buckle down and try not to do it again as much as possible. Even though you want to retaliate, you want to make sure that like, hey, you're not going to keep doing this to us as much as you think you can do it. But again, the better way of beating a team is through the scoreboard, and that's what you did against Halifax that night.
And I also want to mention that the Bandits are 4-1 when Mitch Desnew is in the lineup. Isn't that crazy? The Bandits are 4-1 when Mitch Desnew is in the lineup. So that whole stretch of games, those 4 games where Mitch Desnew didn't play and was out with the knee injury, Bandits went 0-4.
Yep.
So the only game that when Mitch Desnew was healthy that they lost was the Halifax home game in overtime. They beat Georgia, they beat Calgary, they beat Las Vegas, and they beat Halifax. The one game where he was in it, they had to go to overtime. Maybe, just maybe, Mitch Desnew might be the heart and soul of the defense. Who knows? But it's so great to have him back. Kind of questionable decisions. Mike McCannell dropping back on D. Zach Belter, healthy scratch. Don't really understand that to an extent, but Dylan Robinson, I think, would have been the guy for me that sits up in the press box for a game and Belter gets a start. I would love to see that. Maybe you get to see that in Vancouver. That was a little bit questionable. I thought that who was a healthy scratch? Because they had Lucas Nielsen and Ryan Benesh were in the game. Was it Thomas Woody? I believe was one of them.
Yep.
And I can't.
Belter was the other.
Zach Belter. That's right. So still, despite that, pretty solid lineup. I would like to see more Lucas Nielsen, and that's what we kind of were begging for on this show after the Colorado game, and he's played both games. Scored a goal, got an assist, but the young kid is getting these reps. You got to develop and you got to grow your homegrown guys, and I think the more that you play Lucas Nielsen, the more he'll be comfortable, and that potential is all there. He's not going to be a superstar right away. He's got to get his feet wet in this league, and he needs to keep playing on a consistent basis. And when you put him on lines with Josh Byrne and Dane Smith and Ian McKay, he is going to produce. He's going to get goals. He's going to get assists. Just let him be the player who he is. I like the fact that he's still in the game and he's still playing. The transition game, too. The one power play goal that the Bandits did score was Ian McKay coming out of the transition to go up 8-3. And Ian McKay, he's not putting up the 2025 numbers that we're used to seeing, but he's on a 4-game goal streak, I believe. He's getting his goal-scoring touch back, and that's what we love to see as well. This was the first game, though, in quite a long time where I can say, outside of a couple squeakers, Matt Vince looked like Matt Vince in this game.
Yeah.
There were some goals, like I thought the 4th and the 5th goal to make it 8-5 going into halftime. I thought both of those should have been saves. And I thought maybe, if Cam Wires was in position on that 10th goal, I don't think that goal happens. And I think the Bandits probably win 11-9. But there were a couple ones where I'm like, Vince, that was ugly.
The one where he tried to reach out in his crease and then he had to try to chase back to the net.
That was
don't ever leave that.
Oh, dude, I was about to spike my TV out the freaking window after watching that. Where he had,
that was like a gimme goal.
On the stick, one hand on the stick, try to clamp it down. Yep. That was a bad one.
That was a toughie.
I think I mentally blocked that one out of my brain because I didn't think of it until you brought it up. But
I'm sorry.
41 saves out of 51. Hey, the guy's 43 years old. This is probably the best you're going to get out of him as of right now. So he played better in this game than he did in the Colorado game. Way better than the Philadelphia game, too. Man, I was kicking the freaking desk in front of me watching that Philadelphia game. But I will say this. If they continue this pace, this, the four-peat, or at least the road to the four-peat, can be on right now. I'm still on the fence about what this team's identity is and how far they can go this year, given the fact that they're 4-5 and they lost to some pretty bad teams. But you look at some of the teams that are in front of them right now, and you got some good ones in the top four. But this is why winning some of the games earlier on in the schedule was important. The Ottawa game should have been a win. Rochester, he got flat out dominated. I wouldn't call that a win. Halifax at home should have been a win.
Yep. And
Philadelphia at home should have absolutely been an ass whooping from the Bandits. And right there, if you look at that, that's probably 3 extra wins that you should have, and that puts you in a top 4 spot, no doubt. But you got 9 games to go. Go prove your worth. But again, it starts with a big win. I don't care what the margin is, as long as you have the higher number.
That's right.
I don't care if you win by 1 or if you want to win by 12. The fact that you beat Halifax, this might kickstart the momentum going the other way for the Bandits. Now, there is blood in the water. Saskatchewan proved that Vancouver is beatable. They beat them in overtime. Robert Church with a shot from the restraining line went through Christian Del Bianco's 5-hole. Uncharacteristic goal for him to give up. Blood in the water now.
Yeah.
This was a team that Buffalo swept in the playoffs last year, and those are some demons that Vancouver needs to shake off going into next week. But if the Bandits go into Vancouver and beat them, and we'll talk about this on the pregame later on in the week, but if they go in and beat them in Vancouver, the narrative on this show might flip 180 degrees on its head.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, and especially with the fact that now we're going into really the gauntlet, as the National Lacrosse League said on TSN, especially going into the next few games, is that we've got the top tier teams that we have to face. Now it's looking at the king of the hill, and we're looking up, and I'm like, well, we're going to have to climb that hill to get there. So Vancouver's step 1. Then we got SAS.
And then Toronto the night after.
And then Toronto the night after. So 1 game at a time, boys. This was a much needed win, and I'm glad you guys finally got that out of the dirt. So let's just go into Vancouver and just not play inconsistent. Let's get that 60 full minutes of playing consistent and get that 4-goal average per quarter. I think that will help you win the game. I think if you get 16 goals against Vancouver, that would definitely solidify you. But I think defensively might need a little bit of work, and we can't keep our foot off the gas pedal again. But Matt Vince standing tall, defense doing what they do. And like you said, with Mitch DeSnoop being 4-1 now out of the 5 games he has played, is a huge difference to have him back in the lineup. So try to stay healthy as possible, Mitch, and don't ever get hurt again.
Yeah, dude, defensive player in the year just a couple years ago.
The reason why we got him back
with the Toronto Rock, and he's looked like a way better defenseman than he did in 2019, the last time he played with the Bandits. He's looked like a seasoned pro compared to that player. But I do also want to just say, any sort of matchup between John Tavares and Micah Kersey, every single one of these finishes are like within 1 or 2 goals, and it's always like
playoff mode.
TV. I mean, I always think of the Chris Kluche overtime game from a few years ago, the one at home. I think of the Ian McKay's natural hat-trick game from a few years ago. Obviously, the overtime goal from this year with Clark Peterson, and then throw on top of that the Dhane Smith shorty. I mean, these games are always always between John Tavares and Micah Kersey, always within 1 or 2 goals. They're always back and forth, and they're always close. And that's what makes Bandits Halifax, a.k.a. the original Nighthawks, must-watch television. But I love watching that. I also want to mention, if, to maybe brighten the spirits of the Bandits fans out there, 2023, 2024, and 2025, the one thing about those teams that were all in common is that they would sometimes play down to lesser competition, but they would play up and beat the best teams. So you got to hope that trend continues going into this gauntlet. Like, hey, you might lose to Philly, you might lose to Ottawa, but you always play up and you always show out against the top tier team. So maybe this means you go in and beat Vancouver, you go in and beat Saskatchewan, you take down Rochester at Fan Appreciation Night, and you beat Colorado at home. I think if you win just 3 out of those 4 games, whether Rochester, Colorado, Vancouver, Sass, if you win 3 out of those 4, you can flip the narrative of the 4 Pete's dead and turn it right on its head and be like, yo, the Bandits never left. It just took us a little while to get started and get used to winning. But I don't know. I mean, time will tell, but that rally kind of starts with a big win over the Thunderbirds, and hopefully that trend can continue. But we needed this win. 3-6 would have absolutely ended the season. Halifax has a lot of work cut out for them, and I don't know, man. They're 12th or 13th in the league right now. They got a lot. They have to climb a really, really steep mountain with not a lot of time left remaining. So we're just going to put that out there. The Bandits, I'm happy that they are within striking distance of a postseason spot right now. This is right where you want them with 9 games to go. Is it as pretty as it was in 2025? Absolutely not. Where they start off the season 7-0 and lost 5 the whole rest of the way. No, this path is a little bit different, but as long as you get in the top 8, everything should be fine.
Yeah, hopefully within like you said, the last 9 games, and I'm going to read them off because I actually have the schedule right in front of me. We have Vancouver, Sass, Toronto, Colorado, San Diego, Sass again, Vancouver again, Rochester the second time, and Oshawa final week.
It's tough.
So you got, I think, guaranteed wins 1 out of the 9. The other 8 are going to be challenging.
Anything's guaranteed anymore, bro. After the Philly game, nothing is guaranteed.
Yeah, that's true, but got to go out there and play your game, boys, and you got to take it one game at a time. So next up is Vancouver. Your focus is on that.
That's right. We will have the preview for you with that later on in the week. But Banditland Boulevard player of the game. A couple different players that I'm looking at here. But in case the title didn't spoil anything for you, I'm going with the first star of the game, Dhane Smith. Ball don't lie, bro. Short-handed goal. He's finding his goal-scoring touch. He's finding his points again. 1 goal, 6 helpers, 7-point night. Dhane Smith is looking like Dhane Smith again.
Yep, and also for my player of the game, I'm going to go defensively, and I'm going to say thank you, Mitch DeStew, for coming back at the moment that we need to get wins. 14 loose balls, and especially on keeping your discipline as much as possible on that first one where you got checked from behind, and you didn't take a stupid penalty to even bark at the referee to get yourself a delay unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. So good kudos on you, but defensively playing smart, helping out Matt Vince when you can. But again, 14 loose balls right there, I'm going to say that again, is huge to have, especially in the defensive side. So my player of the game, Mitch DeStew.
I don't mind that at all. I think Matt Vince could have been an honorable mention as well. The way that he played, happy for Josh Byrne too.
Yes, let's mention that too as well.
Like we said before, 2 goals, first multi-goal game since Calgary in December. So we're going all the way back to 2025 here when we're talking about Josh Byrne. So he needed that. He needed those balls to go in. Another 7 shots on goal for him. This time, 2 of them went in the net. If he can do that against Christian Del Bianco, maybe put in 3 or 4, Josh Byrne will be back, ladies and gentlemen. He will be back. Don't you ever worry about a thing. But big 11-10 victory over the Halifax Thunderbirds. Tony and I, what do you think? Pre-game Wednesday, probably. We'll send it out there for you. We can do a Wednesday pre-game, and it's a Saturday at 10 o'clock for the Vancouver game. But happy about the win, 4-5. Not where the Bandits want to be, but it's better. It's a hell of a lot better than 3-6. Tony, time to shout out the sponsors after the big win over the Halifax Thunderbirds.
Yes, sir. Banditland Boulevard is brought to you in part by Mitchell's Tavern, located at 734 Sheridan Drive up in Tonawanda, New York. Guys, Banditland Boulevard, myself, Tony LaMonica, over there is Trevor Hauer, are telling you to go check out Mitchell's Tavern. Their food is amazing. Their service is phenomenal. They will treat you like family. Also, we'd like to thank Herney's Journeys. If you guys want to book your next trip or vacation, contact Suzanne Pike at SuzannePike@Herney'sJourneys.com. Let her book your next big adventure. And finally, we'd like to thank Nino's Pizzeria, located at 2 spots, 1737 Orchard Park Road in West Seneca, and in also 315 Buffalo Street in Hamburg. If you guys want to order your pizza, wings, subs, fingers, you name it, French fries, as you like it, only in America. And for those watching us here live through YouTube on StreamYard, give us that like, subscribe, hit that notification bell every time we talk about Buffalo Bandits lacrosse. And for those listening in on every device known to man, on your tablet, your phone, or your radio station through Spotify, give us that 5-star rating that we talk only good things about your boys in the orange and black, your Buffalo Bandits.
11-10 victors over the Halifax Thunderbirds, a.k.a. the OG Rochester Nighthawks. So I love beating those guys. It always feels good to beat them. Let's go into Vancouver. Well, Tony and I will have the preview for you. It's going to be a late one, 10 o'clock p.m. Friday, I believe it is, I think.
Yes, sir.
Friday or Saturday. But until next time, 4-5, we're just on the outside looking in. The Bandits, just like what the logo's doing down in Tony's window there, slowly climbing up in the standings. So going right, slowly but surely climbing its way up. So again, don't care how you do it. Just have the higher number in each game you have left on your schedule. Just do that, and the Bandits will be in phenomenal shape. But the way that we end every single show, we say 3 simple words that Chris Swenson says a lot at the KeyBank Center in Banditland. And Tony, I know that the words are right there, but what are those words?
In 3, 2, 1. Let's go, Bandits.
Let's go.
Let's go, boys. That's a start. Now we have to keep on this consistency and get those W's. Let's go.
Losing streak
is over.
Let's go.
Let's go.